Happy Monday. Yes. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. I'm your man, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. Guess what, y'all? Most people spend their whole lives running. But what if the thing that you're running from is actually the key to your power? Welcome to the show. Good morning, everyone. Tyran Jackson, official. So glad to see you this morning. Thank you so much for joining. Rama Junior Academy. Thanks for joining this morning. Performance Ocean or Performance ANX. So glad that you're here this morning. Judith Schneidman. So glad that you're here this morning. C. Marie B. Good morning. So glad that y'all are here. If you are not here, come on, get here. If you want to know when we go live, do me a favor. Text LIVE, L-I-V-E, to 240-557-8679. That's live, L-I-V-E, to 240-557-8679. My goodness, I am so glad that y'all are in the house this morning on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Dean, you made it, my friend. So glad that you are here. Yes. I'm so glad that y'all are here this morning. I'm excited about this morning and what we've got to share. Oh yeah, the courage to be seen. This is going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Do me a favor. Actually, let me just get some of y'all in here so that I could say good morning to you. Good morning, Dean. Yes. Good morning, Tyran Jackson. Yes. C. Marie B. Good morning. So glad that you're here. All right. Judith Schneidman. So glad that you're here. All right. If you want to join us on YouTube, but we're on Instagram this morning as well. But feel free to join us on YouTube or on Facebook. Well, not Facebook. Yeah, I think we're on Twitch this morning. I don't remember where we are. LinkedIn and YouTube. Those are the two places, two biggest places. But we are on Instagram as well. All right. So listen, let's jump on in this morning because we got some stuff to do. Let's do it. Hey, happy Monday, y'all. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a grand weekend and your weekend was phenomenal, fantastic, and phantasmical. All of the above. I'm so glad y'all are here. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. I'm your man, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. Do me a favor. If you want to go get notified when we go live, text live to 240-557-8679. If you want to join us in the story, speaking, and sales community, then head on over to learnwithrk3.com/3S community. That information is in the caption. So let's jump on in this morning. The title of our episode today is The Courage to Be Seen. The Courage to Be Seen. And if I'm being totally transparent, as much as I'm seen, I'm not always seen. Yeah. If I'm as much as I'm seen, as much as I'm online, as much as you see me in front of you, there's a lot about me that isn't seen. And many of us can say the same thing because we tend to not show our entire selves to the world. And some of that's natural. Right? You're not with me 24/7, so you're not seeing everything that I go through each and every day. But some of what I'm talking about is a work in progress for me, right? It's a work in progress for me to be fully open about my story. Maybe that's not just me. It's a work in progress for me to be fully open about my story. I remember going to college and taking organic chemistry. When I started college, I was a biology major, and one of the classes I had to take was organic chemistry. Now, I won't extend this story. I'll just jump right in. I failed, like with a capital F. I failed organic chemistry. The issue is that I'd never failed a class before. The lowest grade I'd had in any class up to that point in my life was a B plus. And for years, I couldn't tell anyone that I'd failed the class. I couldn't say it. I couldn't bring myself to tell anybody that I'd failed a class, much less organic chemistry. Right? And I remember the very first time that I shared the story of failure. I remember the very first time that I shared it in public. Someone reached out to me after, and they shared how meaningful it was to them that I'd shared that, not just because they were in a similar situation. Not just because they were in a similar situation, but also because it gave them the courage to share. It gave them the courage to share. Hey, Mark Chambers, how you doing? Hey, Danny Lewis. Hey, LinkedIn user. Yeah. All right. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Yes. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Right. This person shared with me that my sharing my story gave them the courage to share theirs and that they could move forward. The other thing that it did for me was it lightened my load. It lightened my load. We carry so much of our story, and I wish I had something to demonstrate it right now, but we carry so much of our stories, and we hide so much of our stories. We call it baggage. We call it baggage. And the funny thing is, we try to hide the baggage. Right? We got stuff, we got stories, we've got situations and things that we've been through, and we hide them because we don't want to be judged. We hide them because we don't want to be identified or typecast with those things. We hide them because we don't want people to link those stories with us. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, fam. People can see that we're carrying something. People can see that we're carrying something. I don't know if you have ever seen someone with a weight on their back or walking along with two heavy bags or buckets. I remember when I was a kid growing up in the island of Jamaica, there would be women that would be walking, and they had this awesome skill. They would have to go collect water, and they would have these large buckets, these large pans that they carried, and they would balance them on the top of their head, and they would be walking along with these buckets. And sometimes they would have the bucket of water, the big bucket or the big steel bucket of water on their heads, and then they'd also be walking with two pails by themselves, by their hands, by their sides as well. And they were carrying this weight like a boss. But here's the thing. When you have all of that on you, sometimes you may be adept at carrying it. Sometimes you may be able to balance it. Sometimes you may look like a boss in front of everybody else. But when you're carrying something, your voice is different because you're straining a bit. And here's what happens when others have weight, when people have weight, when people have baggage. Some people lash out. We wonder why some people are mean. We wonder why some people are jittery. We wonder why some people are defensive. It's because they've got baggage. It's because they've got weight. It's because they've got something that they carry. It's because they're hiding something. It's because there's a story that they walk around with. And for some, that story, that weight can be crushing. It can be crushing. Brene Brown wrote this book called Daring Greatly. Go check it out. It's in the caption on YouTube and on Facebook, I believe, and on LinkedIn. It's in the caption. Go ahead and check that out, that link. She wrote this book called Daring Greatly, and this book talks about courage and vulnerability, or the ability to allow our true selves to be seen, even while knowing that the potential for judgment exists. And she says in this book, she says, she's got so many great quotes in this book, but here's one. She says, daring greatly is being brave and afraid every minute of the day at the exact same time. Wow. Wow. Some of us, we don't share. We hide our stories. We hold on to our stuff because we're nervous and we're afraid, and we're trying to wait until we're unafraid to share. But what she's saying is that vulnerability, daring greatly, is being brave and afraid every minute of the day at the exact same time. We walk through stuff. We've got these stories. We've got these experiences. We've got these challenges that we walk through, and we try to appear perfect. We try to hide them. We try to walk around as if everything is hunky-dory, copacetic, all right. We walk around as if we're good. And she also writes, she says, the irony of this is that we attempt to disown our own difficult stories to appear acceptable. But our wholeness, our wholeheartedness, actually depends on the integration of all our experiences, including the falls, including the fails. Because here's what happens. Somebody is looking at you. Somebody is checking you out. Somebody's watching how you navigate life, whether you're online, whether you're on video, whether somebody is looking. And they're watching to see how you get back up. They're watching to see how you navigate the stuff. Because they're trying to grab their courage. They're trying to grab their boldness. They're behind you on the journey. And sometimes what happens is that if they see you fall and stay down, then they say, oh, well, I'm not going that way because that person, the person who seems strong to me, the person who seems like they got the buckets balanced on their head, the person that seems like they've got all the stuff together, to me, they didn't do well. Here's the hard part. Sometimes the people that are looking are our family. Sometimes the people that are looking are our children or our nieces, our nephews, those that are behind us, those who we want to be role models and examples for. And they're looking at us. And if we decide that we're just going to abdicate responsibility, that we're just going to give up, we're going to quit, then that's what life looks like to them. You don't have to be perfect for them. You don't have to be impeccable for them. You don't have to be good all the time for them. What we want to be is resilient. What we want to be is perseverant. Is that a word? Yeah. What we want to be is bounce backers. What we want to be is courageous. Oh my gosh, I'm going to jump into, there's another quote that Brené Brown says. She says, when we spend our lives waiting until we're perfect or bulletproof before we walk into the arena, we ultimately sacrifice relationships and opportunities that may not be recoverable. We squander our precious time when we turn our backs on our gifts. And those are the unique contributions that only we can make. Yeah. Let me pop some of these chats up on the screen here. Udine says, love that book. Yeah, it's a fantastic book, Udine. All right. Yes. Tyran says we're not good all of the time. We're not. We are. We are. Yudina again says do it afraid. Yes, absolutely. 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 Here's the deal. And here's why it's important to grab your courage and be seen. Here's why it's important to get out of our own ways and allow ourselves, our stories, to be heard. Not only is it important for others to be able to see our stories, it's important for us to release the weight, because here is how most of us operate. We operate inside of shame. We see the Instagram, we see the TikToks, we see the planes, we see the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris, we see the mansions and the stuff that everybody else has or other people have, and we operate with shame because we don't have those things. And maybe you're saying, well, I'm not jealous of a mansion, I'm not jealous of a Lamborghini, I'm not jealous of the clothes that they're wearing. Okay, but maybe they're an author, they wrote a book and you're like, oh my gosh, I should have written a book by now. Okay, all right. Right. And it's not that you can't write a book, it's just that life hasn't set up itself for you to do that, or you haven't worked with life in that way just yet. But we're comparing ourselves. All of us walk through these spaces of comparison, and comparison ultimately leads to shame. I'm ashamed that I haven't done this. I've got the equipment, I've got the stuff, I know how to, I've got the talent, I can grow it, but I haven't done it. So I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. So it's important to share our stories. It's important to own our stuff. It's important to own where we are, because it not only helps others to move forward and be better, it helps us to release the shame, to release the baggage in our stories. So I'm going to share with you some steps to transform. And we do this every week. We don't want to just tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing. We want to give you some keys. We want to give you some equipping. So step number 1, to grab our courage or our bravery, is to reframe your narrative. Reframe your narrative. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Start asking, how has this shaped me into the person that I am today? Right? Instead of asking, why did this happen? Why me? Start asking, how has this shaped me into the person that I am today? I want you to challenge yourself to find the strength in your struggles, because the hardest seasons, the toughest seasons, often birth the most powerful lessons. Yeah. Yeah. The most challenging seasons in our lives, if we are honest, if we are evaluative, if we assess, we recognize and we look back and realize that those challenging seasons gave us the most powerful lessons. Step number 2, speak your story out loud. Do I have to share it, Robert? Do I have to talk? Yes. Speak your story out loud. Yeah, it's one thing to think about it in your mind, but you've got to speak it out loud. And when I say speak it out loud, I'm not only talking about on a microphone. It could be with your pen. It could be with your pen. Write down one pivotal moment in your life, and I want you to share it. I want you to do this week. I want you to write down one pivotal moment in your life and share it with someone, a friend, a mentor, or if you're ready, hop on a microphone like me and share it publicly. Right? Because when you own your stuff, when you own your story, shame loses its power. Your story has the potential to free someone else who has or who feels alone in theirs. I'll say that one more time. Your story has the potential to free someone else who feels alone in their story. That's number 2. Number 3. The number 3 step to transform or to grab your courage is to make decisions from your highest self. When you fully own your experiences, when you fully own your story, you stop making decisions based on fear or insecurity. Oh, MG. We live in a time where it seems like most things are fear driven. If you're watching the news or if you turn on the TV and you hear about the latest, it's based on fear. I don't want to dismiss or ignore what's happening in people's spaces or the challenges that people are being forced to deal with. At the same time, a lot of what has happened or what is happening is designed to cause you to live in fear or to operate or make decisions based on fear. But here's the deal. When you fully own your story, you stop operating in fear and insecurity. Ask yourself, if the strongest, most confident version of me, was making this choice, what would they do? I want you to think about yourself. Imagine yourself as a superhero. Imagine yourself with a cape on. Imagine yourself as unstoppable. If that unstoppable superhero cape wearing person was making this specific choice, what would they do? And then begin to do that. I love what some of you are sharing online. C. Marie B says, comparison is the biggest thief of life. I love it. I love it. Things happen for you, not to you. I love it. I love it. I got to jump this morning, but I want to leave with one final quote from Daring Greatly. And it says, you either walk inside your story and own it, or you can stand outside your story and hustle for your worthiness. You can either walk inside your story and own it, or you can stand outside and keep hustling for your sense of self-worth. My friend, how can you think bigger? How can you own your story? How can you change from fear thinking to freedom thinking? How can you turn your day from reaction into creation? Yeah, that's what we want you to do. We want you to build something new and break through to something bigger. The world needs you. It needs me. It needs both of us to do this. It needs both of us to do this. Right? If you want to grow your business and your sales through better, more confident speaking, both in person and on camera, I want you to join me in the Story Speaking and Sales community. How's that for a transition? All right, the link is in the caption. And don't forget to share the show. Yeah, let's go. Don't forget to share the show and subscribe to the channel. Right? We want you to do this because this is me sharing my story, but I want you to share your story as well. Okay? Share the show, encourage somebody else, inspire them. Join me next Monday for the Monday Mindset Movement. Yes, you. Join me. Until next time, my friends, change your thoughts, change your world, change your story, and ultimately, share your story. See you soon. Peace.